when we tried that system for the first time, I got a text saying, I'm putting my washing out, I can hear you from my house.
There was the odd occasion where, I'm jumping around like a football fan. I forgot that I was going to be and somebody would say, you haven't announced the goal yet. Oh, well, I better do that. So,
Good afternoon, Ross Stewart is, I think, a nice name to announce.
Oh, honestly, when I met Ross Stewart, I thanked him for elevating my personal brand.
So as it died down, the analyst said to me, actually, it was an own goal. And I went, bleep that, give me the mic. Goal scorer for Leighton Orient.
You are damaging the pitch. We have a game against Brighton on Sunday.
He said 10,000 of them all love you. 10,000 of them will hate you. And 10,000 of them won't give a about you. And I went, I like those odds.
Welcome everybody to a New Year edition of We Welcome Your Teams. Happy New Year to you. I hope the festive season was fruitful. Obviously there's a busy start to 2026 for many clubs and their stadium announcers. So knuckle down, get your mini heaters and your padded lays out. It's going to be a busy January. And we are kicking off the year with a brilliant guest who we will introduce in a tick. First off, as always, my regular co-host, the voice of Old Trafford for Manchester United, Alan Keegan is with us. Happy New Year, Alan.
Well, a very happy New Year to you, Rich. And what can I say? It's been an adventurous start to the new year here at the Theatre of Dreams. Hopefully, it'll have settled by the time this goes live, Rich. But as we are hot off the press, yes, we're looking for a new manager.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I know you're in Manchester at the moment, whilst there's been a couple of away games in the hectic schedule. And I was surprised you weren't called back to help steady the ship.
Well, they know I'm always there. That's the thing. I'm always there, Rich, to steady the tiller and make sure we carry on as we always do. But interesting times at Old Trafford, and let's see what happens.
Not so interesting at West Brom, I can report. It's been a fairly mediocre end to 2025 and not the best start to 2026 as we speak, but things can only get better. As D-Ream once coined. Let's get on with introducing our guest then. He's ready and waiting, so let's let him do it as he would welcome your teams. Take it away, guest.
Take me home, Midland Road.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome onto the pitch the visitors, Rich and Alan, from the We Welcome Your Teams podcast, and your Bradford City announcer, Darren Harper.
Hey!
Hello, guys. How you doing?
Hey, Darren, we're okay. Listen, Rich, I've got to jump in straight away.
I know why. Go on.
Yeah. So give us the story with the country roads and how that's come about, because I'm going to share with you about United's input now on that.
Oh, yeah, because United have got Take Me Home Trafford Road, isn't it? Is that...
Take Me Home Country Roads.
Oh, right.
And it's Take Me Home United Road.
Oh, okay.
The place that I belong,
I'm probably the wrong person to ask about this because I know they used it for a number of years, but this version of it, they had done, it's by a Bradford band called The Good Citizens. There's an excellent guy called Tom Novakoski who had done this version. And so we've used it pretty much since I've been there, since 2018, we've used it. And I think it was sort of knocking around before that. The complete history of it, though, I don't know, Alan. I don't know. Is the honest answer.
Okay, that's interesting because, just going back to what we always talk about here, and I think this is quite interesting, Rich, for everybody who listens to the podcast. Non-stadium announcers, but most of us, I think, announced the team just prior. Hence the name of this podcast and the 2:55 slot. Most of us announce our team just before the kickoff. But at United, over the last season, we've changed that. So I actually announced the team. I do it twice, early doors, blah, blah, blah. And then we announced the team now at about probably 10 minutes before the kickoff. Because when the teams come out and do the handshake and we've got the Premier League music playing, those are the days. Yeah, sorry, Rich, you might not be feeling that.
Those are the days.
Yeah, once we break out, or once the teams break off to do the team photo, we then kick in with John Denver's United road or country roads. So, and honestly, it has really, really taken off. It's brilliant. It's really, the hairs on the back of your neck stuff. Because once it gets into the chorus, we normally get into the two choruses. Once we get into it, we fade it down, and the stadium just, everybody, man, boy and girl, they all sing it, and it is brilliant at the moment. It's really working. But it as was, Rich always asked the question about input. It was because of Bruno Fernandes. He wanted it playing. We used to do it beforehand, if you like, 10 minutes, but he wanted it at that slot, even in a Champions League game where the rules are so tight and everything else, and he just said, get it played. So I was just interested to see how it slipped in with you, Darren. But never mind, that's for another day.
But you're right. The crowd really do engage with it, and they certainly do at Valley Parade.
What's the chorus line then? What's your chorus line?
Take me home, Midland Road, to the Valley, to see the city. Take me home, Midland Road.
Amazing, yeah.
I mean, that's like Shakespeare version of it, but it is good. It is good, and the crowd absolutely. When the players are in the tunnel, and that is playing, and the whole, if it's a big crowd for us is what 20-odd thousand in League One, which is pretty good. And when all of them are singing, hairs on the back of your neck stuff, Alan, like you say, it's incredible.
I mean, obviously, we still play This Is the One when they're in the tunnel. That's our sort of signature tune from when, well, there's a big debate about that, but we'll say when Gary Neville was captain. Jockey, if you're listening, I'm sorry, or whatever. Brian McClare, he debates that. But, I mean, we play This Is the One, and then they do the lineup, and then we go straight into, a bit like, You'll Never Walk Alone at Anfield and stuff. They play it right up to the kickoff, and, it's great. Anyway, I just thought I'd ask.
It's an incredible thing to be behind and to be part and orchestrate in that moment. I think it's one thing that everyone we speak to on this podcast loves, that the hairs on the back of your neck moment, no matter what the game and no matter what's going on at the club, how well or how badly you are doing at the time, that still happens.
Yeah.
And orchestrating a bit like that is, it's a big part of why we love this job, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you get it then, Darren? How did you end up as announcer at Bradford?
So my background is radio. So I presented a commercial radio breakfast show in Leeds for about 10 years. And then during that time, we used to sort of cover a lot of football. We used to cover a lot of rugby league. And I covered... a mate of mine used to be the pitch announcer at Featherstone Rovers in rugby league, and then he couldn't do it one weekend. He said, you couldn't do this, could you? And I was like, oh, okay, I'll give it a go. And anyway, I really enjoyed it. It was good fun, and they quite liked me, so they sort of offered me like the full gig there. And the guy that was the sort of like the media manager at the time at Rovers was a guy named Ryan Sparks. And so I got on really well with him, worked with him for about 2 years there. He went off then to become media manager at Bradford City. And just off the cuff, I just said, oh, look, if you need a pitch announcer, you know where to come.
Yeah.
And then literally 2 weeks later, he phoned me and said, we need a pitch announcer. Can you come? And I'm like, yeah, all right. So I went along and gave it a go. He's now CEO at Bradford City, is Ryan.
Wow.
So he's gone from like media manager to CEO.
Your job's all right then.
Hopefully. Well, you never know. But yeah, so I've got on really well with Ryan, and so that's when I joined. So that would have been, like I said a bit earlier, I think 2018 was my first season at Bradford City. So I've seen a bit already in the last sort of like 7 years.
I mean, yeah, you have, haven't you? I mean, I think back over notable moments, and Alan, you'll have some as well. But when I was trying to think about West Brom and Bradford history, and it goes back years to the Igor Ballis penalty and promotion, which is yonks back now.
Paul Jewell,
people like that. See this. So yeah, I mean, from your point of view, Al, didn't like Paul Scholes score one of his best ever goals against Bradford?
Oh, he 100% did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why that sticks in my head. I don't know. I've had old like goals going through social media recently, like some of the best goals of the month ever. I seem to remember, and it was very similar to the one he scored against Villa.
Yeah.
It was
volley outside the area.
Outside the area. It was a Valley Parade, that as well. Yeah.
Was it?
Not that I was there. Not that I was
okay.
No.
But if you were, Darren, how mumbled would your announcement be for that goal?
I always think it's quite interesting. People often say to me, whenever someone's got goal for Manchester United from Paul Scholes. And just really hushed under your breath.
Yeah.
Substitutions, really hushed under your breath, and then you really go for it with your. Yeah. I find that really fun.
It's part of the unwritten rule book that we've gradually put together as this podcast has gone by. You give the away team as little respect as possible without being disrespectful, and then you flip it completely on your head when it comes to the home team.
Yeah, 100%.
I tell you what, as well, Darren, you've had some legendary managers, dare I say, with the United connection.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
am I right? You've had Brian Robson.
Before my time, if he was there.
But you've had Brian Robson. I think Mark Hughes was there in your time.
Yeah, Mark Hughes. Well, that was a bolt out of the blue. That was when they announced Mark Hughes. So, and he was with us for a couple of years. And what a lovely guy. I really got on well with Mark. I do the pitch announcing, but I also host all of their events as well. So, Player of the Year awards and any sort of fan forums and manager forums and that sort of thing. And I do their official podcast as well. And so, I spent quite a bit of time with Mark Hughes over his tenure at Bradford City. I got on really well with him. But like you say, I mean, seriously legendary footballer. And it was just whenever I had a chance to sit down and chat with him, whether it be just chatting over a cup of tea or in an event, just to find out about his days of United and Chelsea and Barcelona, and rooming with Gary Lineker and all of these things. It was just it's just as a small boy, I would have been just wetting my pants to have that sort of opportunity to chat with him. Yeah, I was a little bit starstruck when Hughes got the job. Definitely.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
And then he went to the mighty Carlisle.
Yes, well, there's a bit of history with Carlisle as well with Bradford City, because we lost to Carlisle in the playoff semi-finals when Hughes was boss. And then obviously Hughes left because didn't get into the playoffs next season, went off a cliff a little bit. And then suddenly he's at Carlisle. So it was a strange one. And in the National League.
I know. And he's still with them. He stayed with them.
Yeah, no, good for him. Look, he's a proper football guy. He just enjoys the job.
Yeah,
it was interesting. Everybody sort of was quite surprised when he took the job, I think, at Bradford City, but he didn't. It was just after COVID. He didn't want to be a manager during COVID and manage in empty stadiums.
No.
Which completely sort of understand that. Pitch announcing to an empty stadium was fun. But so I understand that, and he just wanted a proper football job. And in League Two, you're going to get a proper football job. And he applied for the job. He wasn't approached. He sent an email applying for the job, or his agent, which is his son.
Surely Mark Hughes himself didn't send the email.
I think his son's his agent, so his son sent him sent an email, but it went into Ryan's spam. So he didn't see it for about a week. And then was clearing out his spam and then said, Mark Hughes? What? And then lo and behold, Mark Hughes became manager. So
no way.
Amazing.
Is he the best manager that you've met along the way? Was he the most talkative one? Were there any others?
There's been some really nice ones. I think I really got on well with Gary Bowyer. I thought he was a really nice guy, good fun to be around.
Did I see that Gary Bowyer, now manager of Burton Albion, gave their stadium announcer Ian Hawkins a bottle of wine for Christmas?
Yeah, he was always very nice to me. He never gave me anything for Christmas.
Ian Hawkins sent a WhatsApp message saying, I've had a bottle of wine from the manager.
Yeah, I never got anything off of him at Christmas, but he was always good fun, I thought. I really, really like Graham Alexander. He is just a really top guy. And it's just, I don't know, he's like some of the other ones we've had there. He's a proper football guy, but he's really down to earth. There's no airs or graces. He just tells it like it is. And he's just really easy to get on with. You know where you are with him. And everything I've done with him, I really, really do like the guy. And, it's nice to see nice people getting on well, and he's doing well at the moment. So
100%. I'm interested in, I suppose, the other roles you have alongside stadium announcing. That, I suppose, it's what's helping you have this interaction with these managers who happen to just be, great players, former players from the past. Does it change or affect in any way the gig you have as the stadium announcer? Then do you feel a bit of a better connection then with the team, with them and what you do?
Yeah, I think I'm not just sort of like a voice in the heavens, am I? Because there's a face to it as well. So certainly where I've, got connections with the players and with management in sort of like the Player of the Year awards, or now we're doing the official podcast as well. So they're getting to know me a little bit more. And so, yeah, I think it helps really. Cool. Yeah, I do think it helps. I think football. Everybody sort of thinks of football, and Premier League clubs obviously are a massive operation, but quite a lot of the other clubs are quite a smaller operation. Really, there's still a lot of people that work there, but so it's nice to get on with everybody and know everybody as well.
I think that is the difference, and we have it quite a lot when we speak to people. And obviously, Bradford have some huge glory days in their past, but the way things are currently. Sitting where you are probably does change that a little bit. I don't know how many times you sat down and had a cup of tea with Ruben Amorim, Alan. He wasn't there long enough, was he?
No, well, that's it. I mean, like you say, you enjoy the moment while you can, and you take it on board, and it'll be interesting to see who I'm letting on to in a week or so if it's not been announced before this goes out.
Yeah. So Darren, you've been there since 2018.
Yeah.
So you did mention COVID, so let's just go back to how you found it and how you dealt with it there.
Well, there's a few things I reflecting on that time. There's a few things. One, it was really nice to get out of the house. All right, it was and it was like myself and the guy that does the music, Christian, lovely chap, Christian Oldcorn. It was, during that whole COVID time when you weren't allowed out of your house and there was no socializing, to be able to go to somewhere, watch football, do a few announcements, because what they wanted to do is make it as close to a match day experience for the players as possible. And so that's why they kept me and Christian on during the COVID season. So in that respect, I found it really, really helpful. It was like really good for your mental health, being able to just go out and go and see everybody down at Valley Parade. The second thing that I remember about that season is obviously there's no crowd in the stadium at all. And you can hear absolutely everything the manager's shouting at the players from the sidelines. And at that point, it was Stuart McCall. And all I remember, there was a player, a winger called Dylan Motley Henry. And all you'd hear from Stuart McCall is, Dylan! 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 Go on, Dylan! That was all you would hear. And it was, honestly, it was hilarious. Yeah. That's another manager I really loved was Stuart McCall. He was really, really down to earth and great fun. But yeah, that's my overriding memory of COVID is hearing everything from the sidelines. And the players had nowhere to hide because usually if there's a full crowd, they can't hear Ruben Amorim from the sidelines. Can't hear. But there was no excuse. They could hear everything. So yeah, it was incredible times.
So during COVID, did you have zones, Darren? Because when I was at Old Trafford, we had the amber zone and we had the red zone. So
yeah,
we weren't allowed in the red zone, but the amber zone, I would have been sort of at the side of the dugout but not in where all the players were and the backroom staff, you know.
Yeah, exactly the same. We would be nowhere near the players, and we would be in our own little zone, which I'm always sat in the sort of like the media area, which is right on the centre halfway line. So we're sort of like sat with all the media. So it's it's perfect because Christian sits next to me, does the music. I sit there with the microphone, and then you can see everything. And if I can't see who's scored, someone else can in the media box, which I find very handy.
What about the subs then in that instance then? Because you're not pitch side, are you? By the sound of it. So you just got to use your instincts.
Yeah, I used to be pitch side. First couple of years, I was pitch side, and I used to sit with the doctors and do it from pitch side. And to be honest with you, it was nice. I quite enjoyed it being pitch side, but I could not tell who the hell scored a goal and why a manager would want to watch a game from the sidelines like that. I'm like, you cannot see anything. So I was constantly if the opposition side had scored, I was constantly going up to like their assistant going, excuse me, who scored that goal for you, sir? So I thought that was always quite weird. So, and then we did some like technical changes and some different equipment came in. So it was thought it would be a good idea if we sort of like Christian had moved from one area to the media room and in the media seat. So he thought it would be a good idea if I sat there during the game. And actually it works really good for the subs. It's quite easy. You can see the fourth official. As soon as he puts his board up, away you go. So it's not that difficult, really.
Oh, good. Oh, that's all right. We're still again. I've got two people now sat with me pitch side, and when everything's covered. Everything's covered from what music's about to kick in when to which stadium graphics are going up, what's going around on the LEDs and all that kind of stuff. It's like we're almost in complete control until the away team want to make a sub. And then it's just a free for all. It's just, can you see what he's written on his card? Can I just poke my head up round there and have a look and see? No. Is he waving the card upside down? Has he put the number into the board? Can you sort of turn your head upside down and try and see? Is that a 17 or a 21? And we're still guessing until the last possible minute. And of course, we've got to feed this up to the big screen and all. We've got to feed it up to the big screen, and they've got to get all the graphics ready and all that kind of stuff.
Luckily, I've got Christian who sits next to me, and then sitting next to Christian, we've got Fletcher who deals with all the big screen. So everybody's just in that tight little bit, and it works. It works. So,
and part of me would be interested in a move to the gantry to sit with graphics guys and the guy who sits next to them. We're just over radio at the minute, but I think I'd miss pitch side.
I thought I would, but then the amount of Tuesday nights I would sit in the pissing rain and sitting there and thinking this is not fun. But at least there's a nice bit of cover where the media sits. So
and I bet the food's better as well.
Definitely. Oh, we've got 96-year-old Eileen, who's just
Eileen.
She's you've probably seen her quite a bit. She's she's part of this Bantam of the Opera choir that the BBC did over this last sort of like year. And she's part of that, and she was been on TV. Oh God, they performed at the Sports Personality of the Year Awards.
That was them. Okay.
Yeah, that's them. That's
I suppose every time now, if you're in the FA Cup against a big team, or they'll come and interview. Yeah, they get all that. She's that.
Oh yeah, so Eileen is like she bakes all the cakes and puts on a smorgasbord for the media people. She's a living legend. Legend.
So okay, interesting. Alan, if you were ever asked to move to the gantry from pitch side, how would you feel?
Well, actually, in the earlier days, when I say the earlier days, the sort of first 2 or 3 years, someone came up with the idea that it might work better if I was up there. And I promise you, this wasn't intended, but I dropped 2 clangers. I got 2 substitutions wrong because the information that was being fed to me from the pitch side was wrong. And so my boss at the time wasn't impressed so much, so he called me in to sort of, give me a warning about it. And I just said, well, look, I'm only as good as the information that was passed to me. I said, obviously it's a lot better when I'm there. I'm in control of my own destiny, and we don't have to do this. Anyway, I've never been up in the gantry or anywhere like it since. But just going back to what Darren said about COVID and the empty stadiums, one of my sort of memories of that being in Old Trafford, because I was relatively near the dugouts, but obviously not within the sort of area, the red zone. But all I can remember from then is hearing Martin Tyler and Gary Neville in the gantry. I could hear their commentary crystal clear throughout the game. It was very, very surreal because it was above us in what we would call the South Stand or the Sir Bobby Charlton stand, where they were just above me. So you could hear everything that was being said. But like you said, Darren, as well, the players and what they were saying, including the effing and jeffing, it was absolutely brilliant,
It's so good.
Yeah. I'm so gutted I missed that. I was kept at home, and Matt, who did the announcements from up in the gods, just did all the stuff on my behalf. So not that anybody ever wants COVID again. But next time there's a behind closed doors, I'm going to try and get my nose in there because that's probably the closest I'll get to it.
Yeah, it's the only time we've used goal music as well.
Okay, all right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the only time because because there's no crowd to cheer a goal.
Yeah.
It just needed something, so we just would chuck in 30 seconds of Blur song too. So nice and easy. Really.
Did anyone at the end of COVID, when it came back, sort of stick their head up and go, "Do you think we should carry this on?"
I'm trying to think now.
Probably not.
I don't think so because let's be fair. Goal music, Tim Pot. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
Tim Pot.
Yeah.
It's not a good idea. Yeah. I know I'm casting aspersions on certain clubs there. Middlesbrough. But no, goal music is a no-no.
Yeah, it still remains. We haven't touched on it too much recently, just because most of the people I think we've spoken to just don't have it, so therefore we don't even want to know about it.
Yeah.
So
who does have it? Do Wigan have it?
I don't know Wigan. I know Middlesbrough do. Papa's got a brand new pig bag. I think they use.
He does, yeah, he does actually, doesn't he, old John Foster? They do have that ready to go.
I knew that was their intro. I didn't realise it was the goal music as well.
I'm pretty sure it was goal. They used to have goal music there. I know the media guy there because he used to be the media guy at Leeds, which is Paul Hughes. So I maybe should message him. I don't honestly know, but I always remember hearing that they used to have goal music. I've not been up there for a long time. So
we'll produce maybe a list of all the clubs we've interviewed and which ones have goal music.
Tim Pot list. We're going to do the Tim Pot list. Okay,
yeah.
That's great. Tim Pot League.
Moving on. Darren, right.
Okay.
It may have only been 8 years, but they have been an eventful years at Bradford. So what have been your favourite moments that you were on the mic for?
Okay. Well, look, number one has to be promotion on the final day of last season, because promotion's obviously always great because the whole club gets a lift, the fans get a lift, the players get a lift, and it's a fantastic atmosphere. But to do it in the way that Bradford did it on that final day of the season, in the 96th minute, the final seconds of the game, and Anthony Sarcevic, people have got tattoos. Sarcevic 90+6. It's stuff of legend now. And then everything that sort of happened after that, with the team went into Bradford that night and took over pubs and clubs, and just all the social media that came out of it. The whole week was incredible. I hosted then the sort of parade that went through Bradford and finished in their Millennium Square, and there was probably about 20,000 people down in the centre of Bradford just going nuts on a Tuesday evening. And that was incredible. But just to sort of be there for that moment, it was, well, one, the best experience I've had, and also the worst experience I've had, because I nearly got sacked from it. Because
you weren't unprofessional, were you, Darren?
No, I wasn't unprofessional. In fact, I was very professional. very professional, Alan, because one of the things that we do is all the players have got sponsors. Obviously, and it's the same with most, but when like they're substituted, you'll announce the sponsor name, and also if someone scores, you will announce the sponsor name ahead of the person that scored. So that's something that we do. Wow. It's only come in the last year or so that the commercial wanted to do that. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Anyway, Sarcevic scores the goal at 90+6, and everybody just comes onto the pitch. Massive pitch invasion. It was insane. And it took them good 10 minutes to get everybody off the pitch. And I'm having to do the old bit. The game is not finished. Please vacate the pitch. The pitch is for players, not for fans. The game cannot continue, etc., etc. So they get everybody off. And then I'm sitting there. Everybody's off the pitch. They're about to restart. And it's just about to restart the game. And I turn to Christian and I say, oh, I've not announced the goal. And I've not announced that Sarcevic and his sponsor. And I said, do you reckon I should do it? And we're all looking around and Media Carney's yeah, you should. All right. Goal for City from number 10, sponsored by Metal Tech, Anthony Sarcevic. And pitch invasion.
Oh, no.
And honestly, blood drained from my face. And I'm sat there and I look round and I could see Ryan, the CEO, looking at me going, what the I'm just like holding my head in my hands. Yeah. I'm thinking, oh, please get them off the pitch quick. And then again, it took them a good 5-10 minutes to get them off the pitch. And then off they went. They played on for about another minute and then blew the whistle. And then everybody went onto the pitch again. Oh, my God. But that just shows you the power of the microphone. But
it's not like you were inciting anything. You're just doing your job. But I suppose
doing my job. It was possibly the wrong time to do it, looking in hindsight. But it didn't spoil anything. It was just an incredible afternoon, and I wear that as a badge of honour now. Yeah, that I've created.
Absolutely.
Pitch invasion.
I think, Rich, that's the first time where we've asked an announcer, has he had to give the famous, can you please vacate the pitch, please? I think this is the first time we've had it where the stadium announcers incited a riot on the pitch and they've all gone on it because of the stadium announcers.
Just because of them. Yeah. Without you. Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think I was close to getting the sack that day. But luckily, I think Ryan likes me. So I think I was okay.
Okay, it's back to the chat with our guests shortly, but first, let's take a bit of time to tell you about why we love working with Shoot Music. They are the #1 music provider to the sport DJ community, and there's no point being a great announcer if there isn't great music to back you up on your match day. So, Shoot Music have a match day DJ service. You sign up for free and get new music sent straight to you because they know that stadium atmospheres need creating and curating. You'll get access to handy instrumental versions, crowd-pleasing remixes, and specialised DJ mixes straight to your inbox, ready for your next match day. So to sign up, email them info@shootmusic.co.uk. Feel free to let them know you heard about them here on the We Welcome Your Teams podcast. This month, the team have sent round some amazing tracks. Here are 3 of our favourites. And we're kicking things off with progressive house producer Johnny Paul Newman, better known as J Ribbon. Started out when he was just 15 years old, getting signed to Pete Tong's label, and now at 21 he has become an Ibiza resident. His latest release is this, Won't Stop. Next up, it's this from Home Counties, who have a second album out called Humdrum, and from it, this is Roundabout.
Can you get that out? Can you get that out? Can you get up the roundabout? Can you get up the roundabout? And I just can't get
Finally, it's trance legends above and beyond who've been doing it for 25 years and what feels like a heck of a lot longer. The first single, Quicksand, went down pretty well, and the next one coming out is this, Carry Me Home, with their longtime collaborator, Zoe Johnston. And there you have it, all tunes that were sent straight to our inbox just because we're signed up to Shoot Music's Matchday DJ service. Perfect for announcers looking for new tunes to add to their Matchday playlist or recommendations to pass on to that person in charge of Matchday music. Shoot will also support the great job announcers are doing with social media plugs and interviews with them as well. Plus, they're always looking for that next artist/club collaboration that could involve your team. And remember to see which tunes are doing the business at sports stadia around the world. Check out the Stadium Chart. There's a new one published every month. Okay, that's plenty for now about the great job Shoot Music do. Let's get you back to our guests with this episode of We Welcome Your Teams. So we had Graham Easton on a couple of episodes ago, specifically about that huge night at Hampden when Scotland qualified for the World Cup. And we were asking him about sort of prep for all outcomes of that game, you know, the music you've got lined up, all those kind of things. So when you've got that final day, and obviously there's a few different outcomes of it, you know, when did you get to start discussing, right, what we're going to play at full time if we don't go up? What do we play at full time if we do go up? And obviously that changed very quickly with that last minute goal as well. Or maybe it didn't.
Yeah. So I think we'll always have sort of discussions with Christian. Christian sort of like has sort of like carte blanche with playing the music and sort of runs past a few, and you know, occasionally sort of you know, media or the exec will have some ideas about what to play and certain things to play in the lead up to a kick-off or, you know, after a match. But realistically, after a match, we always play Take Me Home Again. So once I'm doing like the full-time result and let's say safe journey home, we'd love to see you at the next home game, which is blah, blah, blah. And then we'll play Take You Home. Win, lose or draw.
Even if you lose, yeah.
Yeah, win, lose or draw. We'll just play that as the crowd are going out. So, I think that's not a bad way of doing it because then, you know, you're always, that's what you're going to hear as you leave in the stadium. And that's, you know, even if you've just, you know, lost 3 or 4-0, it can maybe make you feel a little bit better that you're hearing that song on the way out. And it'll just, you know, hopefully, I think it's consistency as well, isn't it? It's like, you know, because I think, you know, when things haven't gone wrong and people have been in charge of the music, I think maybe they've played things. I know a previous music person played We're on a Road to Nowhere by Talking Heads and wasn't invited back.
Yeah,
so I think consistency is probably a good idea.
Yeah.
On that day, as soon as the full-time whistle went, and Christian played Depeche Mode, Just Can't Get Enough, and I just sort of like did a like City have been promoted to League One, and so we played that out for a little bit. It was interesting.
It just got us. Certainly got me thinking about songs you should or shouldn't play. You know, for all sorts of different reasons, and like, you know, the if you how possible it is, and I think as you know, many of our colleagues are, and us especially our former DJs, we know a bit about music as well. Anyway, we've had it so many times where I've thought of a song we should play, and then someone's gone, no, maybe not.
Yeah, exactly.
I had an incident where Man United were playing Newcastle at Old Trafford. And at the time, I had a lot more input in the music, you know, what we could play and what we couldn't. And I played the Monkeys. What's the title? You know, Cheer Up.
Daydream Believer.
Yeah, so I played that. But
10 points.
Anyway, it was aimed at Kevin Keegan, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, the secretary at the time, the song hadn't finished, and he came down. And I got an almighty bollocking. And I was told in no uncertain terms never to play that song again when we play Newcastle. So, I felt the wrath when we played the wrong song, you know. Another situation occurred. just very quickly, Rich, because I know it's Darren's night, but as a stadium announcer, you'll appreciate this, Darren. So, obviously, you know our rivalry with Liverpool.
No, I've not really heard anything about that.
You know, well, it's pretty high up on the list, you know, nearly as high as Bradford, you know. But anyway, we, at the time when the new Wembley was being built, we were hosting some of the semi-finals at Old Trafford. And I'm just trying to remember, I think Liverpool played Sunderland in the semi-final at Old Trafford. And obviously, I'm the announcer. And what happened was, I never ever thought this would occur in my time or at any time at Old Trafford, but we had to play the song for the winning team at the end. So the semi-final, Liverpool beat Sunderland.
Oh, God.
And we had to play in the shrine that is Old Trafford. I don't think I've ever told this one before, Rich. We had to play You Will Never Walk Alone.
Yeah.
At Old Trafford. It did not go down well with stewards and staff and everybody. But guess who got the blame for playing it?
Oh, well, obviously, stadium announcer.
Stadium announcer.
Always get the blame.
You know, what are you doing? You know, and all this sort of thing. I'm like, hang on a minute. It's the FA. It's an instruction from the FA. They took over the stadium. They controlled everything, music, the whole lot. And that's how. But I never recovered from that.
It's like a blip a blip or anomaly in the history of football. You know, people will see that in years to come. And that would have never happened. How did that happen? That's not right. Someone's got that fact wrong. No, it actually happened. Well, we've had it.
Banger though, isn't it? I mean, like you never walk alone. I mean, you know, I know Alan, you're Manchester United, but in the realms of football songs, because we play it once a year. We play it once a year for the memorial of the fire. So it's the last home game of the season, and so we play "You Never Walk Alone." That's the only time we don't play "Take Me Home." We play "You Never Walk Alone" as they're coming out. It does send. You know, something about that song. Something about that song. It is spine tingling. I think
we would all love. Some do, some have it, but we would all love that song for our club.
A song like I think every team wants a song like that for their club.
Absolutely.
I think some clubs have got one. I always think that Leeds is marching on together. Is pretty damn good. Yeah. You know, there's some good ones out there, definitely. But I don't think anything is as good as Liverpool's.
No. I mean, so we can't play, even though the fans have started using it as a chant for some of our players. We generally don't play Spandau Ballet Gold because it's seen as a Wolves song.
Wow.
Oh, that's a shame.
So, and we had a new guy in the sound system earlier this season. He started playing. I'm like, sorry, mate, no can do. There's a few things that pop up like that we just have to shut down. It just got me thinking about it. We talk about songs you can and can't really play as much as you'd like to. You know?
We would never play the Kaiser Chiefs at Old Trafford.
No,
You know, we'd probably shy away from it at ours as well. Actually,
yeah.
It's just somebody else's band, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of Leeds Bradford rivalry. There's a lot of Leeds Bradford rivalry. They don't like each other. But yeah, I do think we do play a bit of Kaiser Chiefs on occasions. I don't think it's for music wise. I think we quite like music, but you know, forget them when it comes to the football team.
Yeah.
I think anything else.
On the flip of that, although maybe you've covered it, I don't know. We talked about your favourite moment. Were there any incredibly embarrassing moments you've had on the mic? Bar starting a riot.
I think, possibly that's the one, isn't it? Really, I mean, I don't think you can get worse than that. I interview the mascots before the game, down at the side of the pitch. Yeah. I always I'll do a little bit of a little interview with them and find out what their week at school was like.
No, Alan thinks you mean, whoever's dressed up in the big costume.
Oh, no.
See,
No.
We have this as well. Someone says to me interviewing the mascots, and I think, well, we've got a boiler. He's not going to speak. Oh no, sorry, you mean the kids. You mean the kids.
Yeah, they're the kid mascots, the team mascots for the day. So, and I always remember, and sometimes they're quite fun. But I always remember, and I, this. She was probably about like 12 years old, long blonde hair, and I was chatting away to the one before her, and I said, "Oh, and what's your name, young lady?" And he, as soon as I said it, and he went, "Dave." And I just thought, wow, okay. I was like, okay. Who's your favourite player?
Dave.
Ground swallow me up, please.
Absolutely feel for you there. Fair enough. No, sorry. We'll move on quickly. Don't worry. So we talked about where you sit, and how we all have varying opinions on where we sit for a match and what it's like. Covered the fact that there's no goal music, which we should probably just emphasise for anyone who's just tuned in. Yeah. Don't worry, there's no goal music.
Not a team bottle club.
Anyway, who would you say currently, or that you've announced over your time there, has one of the most syllable-tastic names? When they're the goal scorer, you just love getting your lips round that name.
He doesn't score at all, and he's in the team now, and he only joined in the summer. And it's the captain, Max Power. And there is no better name to announce than your captain, number 6, Max Power. Honestly, it's just got something about it. It's incredible. Really lovely chap as well. Did the podcast with him like a couple of weeks ago, and what a top guy. Just incredible. But I'd say that's probably the best one, I think, to announce. Yeah.
When I'll be looking at the scores between now and the end of the season for that one time, because the captain always just normally pop up with one goal a season, don't they?
You never know.
If it's at home, I will think so much of you giving that something.
of the players that are in the team now, there's a winger which is very good. It just rolls off the tongue nicely, which is Tyreek Wright. But like being able to like Tyreek Wright, there's just something about that name that's really nice, I think.
It's interesting when you're saying earlier about adding the sponsors to the goal announcement. So you do the sponsor before the name.
Yeah. So goal for City from number 9, sponsored by Blue Dragon Designs, Andy Cook.
Okay. So, all right. Yeah. It's just nice, and obviously you got that little gap between ball hitting back of the net, crowd going a bit nuts, and then that was interesting because there was a lot of debate about when you should actually announce the goal, and I sort of like we tend to sort of like sit back from it now because the crowd go crazy after a goal scored. We sit back. The crowd at some point will start doing a chant, doing that City. And so as soon as they've done that, that's when I'll go for City. Okay, all right.
And then I'll kick in with that because then you get another cheer after they've celebrated. So I think we've sort of, over 8 years, I think we've got it sort of like right at long last.
I like that. It's proper reading the room stuff. That is. I like that.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, it took a while to get there, but I think we're there.
Mm-hmm. What is it like doing those memorial games? I suppose it's similar to a remembrance day when you've got that kind of whole everything stops, and I suppose you have a piece to address the crowd with. Yeah,
so I think a lot of the time when you're doing stuff with something like Bradford City, and you get sort of like taken up with the history of that place, and I always think it's just like it's a privilege really what I do there. It is a job, and I'm paid to work and I'm doing a job for them, but it is an absolute privilege, and to be at those places for moments like that. Like the last game of the season was of last season when they got promoted. That was the 40th anniversary of the fire, so there was extra pressure on that. and so it was a massive memorial game. And 40th anniversary of the fire after 56 fans lost their lives in 85. So it was, there's a lot more to it. And there's obviously, there's a bit of script that I need to read out. And then we have like the chaplain there to speak ahead of a minute's silence. And I think there's nothing quite like a football stadium that is absolutely rammed, that is just, you could hear a pin drop, and I think there's something really quite special about that. But I'm always blown away by just all the stories and everything from that club. It's an incredible place.
It is. It's just one of the things that quite often pops up in my announcer's stress stream. Is that happening, and then stumbling over over the script. I've had that a couple of times in the stress stream, or the other one is the bugle fails halfway through the last post.
Yeah,
that's out of my control. I know. But.
We've got the same bugler. He's done quite a few years, but this year he looked a little bit more stressed. A little bit more, I could see his knee going when he was doing it, and I sort of think, he looked a little bit nervous this year.
Oh
God, not a good sign, is it, when the knee's going?
Not a good sign.
I'm just sort of like, but he was very good. He is excellent. He's really, really good. He's done it a number of years now. I'm like, Debbie, scared. You're great. You're doing it now.
Otherwise, you're going to have to like pick it up and just get on the mic and go.
Yeah, could you imagine that? Or just play it out of the roadcaster, and then I'll just like.
Yeah,
it's another way of doing it,
Yeah, is there an argument for having a recording of the last post ready to go? I think we're just setting a dangerous precedent there, because then there's an advert for the thing for having a recording of you announcing a goal for every player on a button, and
it's funny you should say that, because we use the same setup as I've got here. We got a roadcaster, which I think you use as well, Rich. And so we use one of those at Bradford City. And so there's a number of these hot pads, these keys that you can just fire stuff off when you need it. And so there's a lot of because when I'm first at the club on a Saturday or on a Wednesday evening or Tuesday evening, I have to go upstairs to one of the suites and host in there and do host there with a legend, and then do a bit of stuff with the crowd in there. And while I'm up there, usually beforehand, I would have to then come down and I would have to read this script out in the stadium. And it would be basically the same thing every single week. And so I said to Christian, you should pre-record this and then just have it on the hotkeys, and you could just fire it off when you want. And he was like, yeah, that's a really good idea. And he says, because you'll be in the stadium, but you're not. And I'm like, yeah. So we do that. So effectively when Christian starts the music, from 1 o'clock, you'll hear my voice, and I don't get down there till 2 o'clock. But you'll hear my voice between 1 and 2 now, and then you'll hear me between 2 and 3 as well. So it works really, really well. I may be putting myself out of a job by pre-recording. In fact, it still freaks people out that I'm walking around the stadium and then my voice is coming out, and they're like, how are you doing that? I'm like, even better, one of those is AI.
Is it?
Yeah. I wondered if anybody would notice, and no one did. I thought I'd try out AI and see what it sounded like. So,
really?
I'm not sure if that's the first. I'm the only AI pitch announcer in the EFL. I don't know.
Well, do you know what? The words have been muted around the desks in the marketing section of the West Brom office. To which I've obviously leapt up and gone, no, for goodness sake, no, you don't do it. It's out of control. The robots are going to take over. Don't let it happen. But
the only thing I don't do live is these little bits about, and it's the health and safety stuff, and a few other little
concourse is now open.
Exactly. Get your raffle tickets, stuff that you're going to do every single week, and the script doesn't change, but the game specific stuff is what I do live.
It's a tricky one, and it might be one for another podcast because we're running on now. But the more now that you've said it, and like I said, it's been mentioned in the offices, and if there was aware of, imagine, Alan. I mean, if you could be captured forever on a pad of buttons, and you weren't needed at Old Trafford anymore.
Well, I know. I mean, when I did Fergie's final call on his last game at Old Trafford, they've regenerated that for all sorts of things. You know, I did his Roll of Honour, and then they put it on his documentary when he came back after he'd been ill, and it's forever getting regurgitated in different ways and remixed. So yeah, it's been mooted around the offices of Old Trafford, so it's not a million miles away, that, guys.
Okay.
Becoming aware. Skynet's becoming aware.
A hologram as well. They could have that on the side of the pitch as well. You know, that's all coming, guys. You laugh, and that's all coming.
And you know what? If any club is going to be the first to do it, you know who it's going to be. Manchester United.
Yeah, exactly.
A couple of sponsors just put over the top of it. 100%.
Just on a quick one, Rich. I know we're wrapping up in a minute, but I now have to read the team at Old Trafford, and it's brought to you by United Store.
Okay.
The starting 11.
Why do they suddenly need to advertise the United Store? It's one of the biggest.
Just they want to give it, I don't know. I think they're trying to get a sponsor for it. And in the meantime, you know, so they have it on I've got to do it in line with the digiboards. Yeah. And so, and here's your starting 11 Old Trafford, the Theatre of Dreams, brought to you by In-Store, number 31, Senna Lemons, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then when I finish it, you know, that was the United starting 11, brought to you by United Store. First time I did it was at the Wolves game in the New Year, or around Christmas. So it came in and it's coming in.
Okay. Noted. The sponsors are creeping in. We still don't have anything as drastic as that at West Brom yet, and I'm surprised. But
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll find an avenue for it somewhere. I don't know if we'll go as extreme as sponsor goal scorers, but
No, we do that. We sponsor the away team. The away team brought to you by Northern Kitchen.
That's a brave move.
Yeah, they always get a sponsor readout for the away team. But yeah, that's it, I think. Yeah.
Right then, Darren. So sum up, if you can, please, a couple of things for us. The best thing about being a stadium announcer, but also the biggest challenge.
Well, the best thing about being a stadium, I think for me, it's the people you work with at Bradford City. It's just a really I wouldn't work there if I didn't enjoy it. And you know, I'm old enough and ugly enough now to think, you know, if I don't want to do something, I'm just not going to do it. But I absolutely really enjoy doing it. You know, like I said earlier on, you know, it's an absolute privilege to sort of like work at a club like that. And I really, really enjoy working with not just, you know, with Christian, who does the music and all the media people, but, you know, even like the exec and just everybody in sort of like commercial and the work on the events. I get on really well with everybody there. Well, I hope I do. Yeah, I just really enjoy it. It seems cliche when they talk about, you know, football clubs are always like a family. So, but it actually is, you know. I think a lot of people sort of, you know, it's second family for a lot of people, and it's a lovely place to be. And I wouldn't have been there 8 years if I didn't enjoy it. You know, I wouldn't have been there 8 years. And what did you say? The most challenging?
The most challenging thing, or the challenges are?
For me, the challenge was, I think, when I first joined, I used to, I'm not a Leeds United fan, but I did a Leeds United podcast, which was sort of spawned out of a radio station that I worked for. And one of the radio stations I worked for was owned by Leeds United. And so Ken Bates was my boss for 10 years. That was interesting. So that's a whole other podcast there for you. I did this Leeds United podcast for about 7 years called LS11. And it did pretty well. And so when I started at Bradford City, I was still doing that Leeds United podcast. So a lot of people were like, hang on, why is this Leeds United fan doing Bradford City? What the hell's going on? And, you know, people were standing up for me and said, he's not a Leeds United fan. He is a broadcaster. He just does a Leeds United podcast. So, you know, I'm a Bournemouth fan, you know, because that's my hometown. So, but Have I got a soft spot for Leeds United? I think you have with every club you cover.
Yeah.
As a journalist, I've even got a soft spot for Perth Glory because, I covered them when I was in Australia for 5 years. So, I suppose that was challenging when I joined Bradford City for a little while. And, I'd sort of walk out of the stadium and occasionally I'd hear, "We all hate Leeds scum. We all hate Leeds scum." And I'd be like, okay, interesting. Okay.
but you noticed, you see, at least you noticed they've clocked that you're the announcer straight away. So in a way,
exactly.
That's a victory in my book, to be fair.
Whatever
they want to say about it. And hey, and don't worry about the whole Leeds Bradford thing. You're looking at a former Manchester City employee here.
Oh wow! Okay, wow. Okay.
Listen, we all have to start somewhere.
The noisy neighbours.
Yeah, the noisy neighbours, and we all have to start somewhere. Darren, I totally get it. I got the same reaction, but people who didn't know me, obviously, with my wife, I've had a season ticket at Old Trafford for over 40 years. So my sort of, if you like, pedigree was always there for that as a fan. But listen, you'll always get some reaction for something that isn't right.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I'm immune to it now after years of abuse for this, that, and the other for broadcasting at Leeds. Yeah. So I just sort of think, fine, absolutely.
It might apply mainly to Man United, but maybe all stadium announcers in your position can take the saying on: hated, adored, but never ignored.
Well, we live in hope.
Darren, thank you very much for being on the pod, mate. It's been brilliant speaking to you.
No problem at all. Thanks very much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Best of luck for City for the rest of the season.
Thanks very much.
And here's to that one Max Power goal.
Oh, yes. Please, Max. Come on.
Thank you to our guest for being on the show this episode, and thanks to Alan Keegan as well for being my co-host. And thank you to you for listening. And a final thanks to Shoot Music for their support with the podcast too. Remember, they're looking for more matchday DJs and announcers who want their free matchday DJ music service, where you get new music and special versions to add to matchday playlists. Their email is info@shootmusic.co.uk. That's it from us for now. We'll see you next time.